The Battle of San Marcial was a battle fought during the Peninsular War on 31 August 1813. The Spanish army of Galicia, led by Manuel Freyre, turned back Marshal Nicholas Soult's last major offensive against the army of Britain's Marquis of Wellington. Background: Wellington approached San Sebastian in the aftermath of the Vittoria campaign and put the city under siege in July 1813, aiming to reduce the important coastal fortress while the French army retired east, nursing its wounds from Vittoria. San Sebastian and Pamplona sat on Wellington's flanks, guarding the approaches to the French border, and needed to be pried from French hands before the Allies could pursue operations into France. However, it appears Wellington misjudged the resourcefulness and determination of the French garrison and its talented commander, General of Brigade Louis Ray. British assaults sustained very bloody repulses, losing 600 killed in the 26th of July attack. Before Wellington could organize a new effort, news reached him that Soult had rebuilt the French field army and reappeared to the east weeks earlier than Wellington had believed possible, and the Allies broke off the siege to confront him. While Wellington faced off against Soult in the Battle of the Pyrenees, Lieutenant General Graham maintained a blockade of San Sebastian and prepared for the resumption of the siege on 26 August. A line of light fortifications was put up to guard against a relief effort by Soult, and a strong cordon was established up to the banks of the Bidassoa. In addition to the Anglo-Portuguese divisions at Vera, Les Arca, and Irons, this screen included the Spanish 3rd, 5th, and 7th Divisions on the San Marcial Heights, as well as 2 brigades of the 4th Division in reserve. After 4 weeks of rest, Soult was, in fact, preparing one last push towards San Sebastian, concentrating all his 9 divisions at Año for an attack in the vicinity of San Marcial. Neither the French nor the Spanish troops were in perfect spirits. The French were demoralized by their recent retreats and their heart was not in the coming fight, while Freyre's ragged troops, neglected by the Spanish commissariat, had not enjoyed full rations in several days. Behind them, the Allied army was locked in a terrible struggle for San Sebastian that would cost it 2,376 dead and wounded on 31 August alone. Battle. In an early morning mist, 7 French divisions crept toward the Bidassoa on August 31, fording the river under cover of their guns. The Allied positions at Vera and Irun were surprised and overrun, but not before alerting Freyre, who drew his troops into a line on the heights. The Imperial columns lost all cohesion as they climbed over the difficult terrain, reaching Freyre in a confused mass. The Spaniards welcomed them with a scathing volley and, advancing with fixed bayonets, rolled Soult's leading divisions back down the hill. Soult rallied the broken units at noon and committed fresh troops to a second assault on the heights. But the line of Spanish bayonets held firm against his final assault and the faltering French were badly beaten. Unable to keep his men from retreating back over the river, Soult ordered a withdrawal back to Irun and called off his offensive without having met a single redcoat. When, in the last lapse of battle, Freyre requested reinforcements from the British to shore up his battered line, Wellington replied, "As he has already won his victory, he should keep the honor of it for his countrymen alone." San Sebastian fell after a fearful battle later that day, and Soult retreated into French soil. Combat of Vera. During the afternoon, a violent thunderstorm struck the area and brought in torrents of rain. By the time General of Division Bertrand Clausel's rear guard reached the fords over the Bidassoa, there were 6 feet of water over them. The rearguard commander, General of Division Edme Acute Martin van der Muysen, led 10,000 men upstream to Vera. The 50-yard-long bridge at Vera would only admit a column 3 or 4 men wide, but it was the only possible escape route. A 70-man company of the green-jacketed, rifle-armed British 95th Regiment under Captain Daniel Cadeau held the village with 2 sentries posted at the bridge. At 2 a.m. on the 1st of September, the French successfully rushed the bridge, but could go no farther. In the heavy rain, the muskets of the French would not fire, so they had to resort to the bayonet. Meanwhile, the British riflemen were secure with dry gunpowder in loopholed buildings. Over and over, the French tried to rush the buildings at the end of the bridge, but they were mown down in heaps by rifle fire. Kiddo sent for assistance from a brigade of the Light Division that was camped a mile away. Incredibly, Major General John Burns Skerritt refused to send help. Instead, he ordered Kiddo to withdraw. The captain refused to obey and held his post against repeated attacks. At length, Skerritt repeated his order to withdraw. Kiddo, who had only lost his 2 sentries, reluctantly prepared to obey. However, it was now dawn, the rain had stopped and the gunpowder of the French was now dry. As the Green Jackets abandoned the buildings, the French opened a terrific fire. Kiddo and 16 of his men were killed and more wounded. Abandoning their artillery, the French filed over the now undefended span to escape from the trap. Vendôme lay among the dead. Aftermath. The battle marked the end of Soult's once redoubtable fighting force. War-weary and despondent, Soult's divisions had lost all heart and, except in a few inspired flashes, were never again to fight with their once customary skill and zeal. The Spanish performance at San Marcial, together with that of General José Zayas's division at the Battle of Albuera and General Francisco Castanos's army at the Battle of Belen, were among their best efforts of the Peninsular War. The next action would be the Battle of the Bidassoa on the 7th of October.